Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jennifer from Branch to Bloom, and today's video is all about articles. This is the second video in my series about grammar, and if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and click like on this video, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of my upcoming content. For this first introduction to articles with your child, you only need a few things. A couple of slips of paper and a light blue and a black felt tip marker. And these materials, as well as everything else that's in this video, are linked in the description box below for you. So what you'll do is just invite your child to come and sit next to you and tell them that you're going to teach them something new. And you can get out your black pen first, because remember, black represents our nouns. So we're going to start with our black pen, and you're going to say something like, what if I told you, get apple? Would that sound funny? And they might go, not sure. And so then you'll give them another example and say, what if I said, look at pen? Would that sound funny? And if they don't really seem to get it, you can do a few more examples. But most kids will notice right away that there's something missing and that it sounds a little bit off. And when they do, you can say, yeah, that's right, there's a little word missing, isn't there? And we need those little words, and you can tell them those words are called articles. And the color that we use for articles is this light blue. So just get out your light blue pen, and then you say, it would sound better if we said, get an apple. Or look at, and usually they can fill in the word for you, the pen, or a pen. And that is the very first kind of silly, fun way to introduce articles to your child. Now that your children understand what articles are, you're going to do a little bit of practice. So for lesson 2, what you'll need is grammar envelope 2. And this envelope has 2 parts of speech, article and noun. And inside you'll find 4 different pockets, and you'll find in each pocket a set of phrases with the 2 parts of speech. And you'll also find some word cards, and these word cards can be used to build the phrases later. Today we're just going to look only at the phrase cards and not at the words. Start with pocket A, and you're going to work all the way through them. And before you start, remind your child that the black triangle represents the noun because it's one face of the black pyramid. And you can tell them that the article is also a triangle because it also goes along with the noun, and it's light blue because that's the color that we use for articles. So what you'll do is let the children choose one card, and then ask them to take the parts, the symbols, and place them over the correct parts of speech. So they'll put the black triangle over the noun, and the article, the light blue triangle, over the article. And just have them go through all of the phrases in each of the pockets. This one has the, and then as you go through, like the rest of them, they'll have different articles for them to use, like a spoon, for example, in pocket B. So once they've gone through all of these and you're confident that they understand which part of speech is the article and which part of speech is the noun, and they've had some practice with it, you can move on to the next lesson. The grammar box materials in the elementary Montessori classroom are some of the most intimidating of all the grammar materials, maybe even all of the Montessori materials for language for homeschoolers. And they really don't need to be. It's not as confusing as it seems. And today I'm going to start by introducing just this first set and telling you how we use them in our home with our children so that you can feel confident about using them with your children. The actual traditional materials are boxes, like they're called the grammar boxes, and then there are filling boxes. And I have made a fabric version of them because it saves us space and money, and I've linked them in the description box below for you. Instead of having a series of wooden boxes like the traditional material, which would have 4 different filling boxes, I have one envelope and it has 4 pockets, and this just works so much better for our small space. Inside each filling envelope, you'll find phrase or sentence cards, and there's also little word cards in here which represent all the different parts of speech that are in the phrase. The reason that the number 2 is on the outside of this one is because there are 2 parts of speech included in this. So the 2 parts of speech are the article and noun. We start this series with the number 2 because if there was a box 1, it would be just a noun, and you can't really make a phrase card or a sentence card with only 1 part of speech. So that's why they start with number 2 and they go all the way up to 9. And as we go through all of them, we'll be introducing the next set 3 will add 1 more part of speech, and as you progress and add a different part of speech with each one to your children, by the time they get to the end, they're going to understand all of them and how all the words work together to make sentences. And it's pretty neat to watch how that progression happens. One more thing to note is that the colors on the elementary sets here do not match the wooden or paper symbols that we are using previously. So the article, instead of being light blue in the elementary grammar box mats or grammar boxes, is tan and not light blue. And the noun is still black, and the verb also stays the same color, which is red, but all the other colors change. And that's because we don't want the children to just be matching up colors. So you'll notice that that's different, and I just want to make a note that it's on purpose. To introduce this first set 2 to your children, you'll bring it over to a workspace and invite them to sit next to you. And then open up the envelope and take out the phrases and word cards from pocket A. Or if you have the wooden boxes, this would just be box 2A. And then you can invite them to color sort the parts of speech cards onto your mat. So they're going to just put the under here, and then they'll put all of the black nouns on under noun, and then tell them to put the phrase cards on the large rectangle at the top. Oops, I have one more noun that got stuck in there. There we go. So it should look something like this. And these are just for sorting. So what you'll do is tell your child to go ahead and choose one of the phrases. They can choose any phrase they want, and they will put it on the workspace. And then remind them that nouns are names of things and articles are the little words that go along with the noun. So ask them to rebuild the sentence or the phrase in this case using the words that are the parts of speech cards. So they'll take the and put it under the and napkin. The napkin. And they'll just do the whole set. Once they finish this one, they just put the words back and put this one back and choose another card. They can do as many or as few of the sentences or the phrase cards and words from this set as they are comfortable and excited and interested about. Make sure you watch them for early signs of fatigue or boredom. If it seems like they're not really interested in it, you may need to find some more creative ways to introduce it to them. And this is one of the great things about homeschooling is that you can be flexible. So I have in the past used a little figure, and my figure is actually building the words. So the child will use their little doll or their little Lego guy or their little figure, and that figure is actually doing the work. Some kids like that. It can be like a car or a tractor that's kind of driving the words over to make the sentence. Whatever you think is going to make it really interesting to them. Be flexible and have fun with it and make it memorable for them. This is how I teach my kids about definite and indefinite articles and what's the difference. If you're not sure in your own mind what the difference is, don't worry, because I'll explain it to you and then you'll be able to teach it to your kids with confidence. What you need to teach this lesson is just a few objects from around your house of varying quantities, and make sure at least one of those objects starts with a vowel. I have an egg here, for example. I have several pens and 2 spools of thread, a candle, and you also need these blank cards, just some slips of paper will do. And you may also want to have on hand Grammar Filling Box 2, just so that you can have some extra words if your kids are really into the lesson and want to keep going with it. So sit down at your workspace and call your child over and show them the objects that you have laid out on your workspace and say, will you please hand me an egg, for example? And they would hand you the egg. And then say, will you please hand me the candle? And there's only one, so they'll hand you the candle. Next, point out that which of the 2 spools of thread that you want and say, will you please hand me the spool of thread? And then they will hand you the one that you pointed to. And say, will you please hand me a pen? And they will just choose any of the pens and hand you a pen. And then take your word cards and write down what the different objects are. So you'll write an egg, the candle, the spool, because that's what they handed you, and a pen. Ask them if they remember that articles are the little words that go alongside nouns, and they'll probably say that they do. And then you can point out that when you asked for the candle, they knew which one to hand you because there was only one. And when you asked for an egg, there was only one, so they knew which one to hand you. And then ask them, how did they know which spool of thread to hand to you? Because there were 2, and they'll say, well, you pointed to this one, and you can say, that's right. And then you'll explain to them that you knew which one to hand to me because it was this definite one. So now you're going to tell them the definition of a definite and an indefinite article, and you can do this by contrasting the spools and the pens in my example. So you would say the spool, you knew which one to hand me because I pointed to it. It was this definite one, and a definite article is a specific thing. It's the one that you specifically want. But when I said, please hand me a pen, it could have been any pen. And that's an indefinite article. It's not a specific one. And that's the difference between definite and indefinite. And if your children keep a work notebook or journal, they may want to record those definitions so that they can refer back to them later. So now that your children understand that sort of tricky concept of definite and indefinite articles, in order to help cement it in their brain a little bit further, you can use the phrase cards and the word cards that are in Grammar Set 2 to help them to understand and to practice those things. And if you want to, you can also continue to use objects from your environment and have them write their own cards. It really helps children to understand and to internalize these concepts when they make up their own sentences and phrases from their environment. But there are plenty of practice sets in the filler box too as well. How did it go? Do you feel ready to teach all about articles to your kids? If you have any questions or any comments, please leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to click like and subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of my upcoming content. Really appreciate you watching today, and I hope to see you next time.